Welcome to my furniture challenge. A few times a year over on Instagram, I host a furniture flipping challenge. I just invite fellow furniture flippers to come flip a piece with me. I put us all in a group chat and we get a chance to know each other. You know, furniture flipping is rather singular, so it's kind of nice to get to know other people in the industry. Just to make it a little bit more fun, I have a prize package for the top 3 winners. I give a cash prize, but I also have 4 sponsors: Wagner, Zebra, Greenies, and Basecamp, and they are donating prizes to the top 3 winners. And I have 3 judges help me narrow down all the entries to the top 3. Then my YouTube audience voted for the top 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. So I flip a piece along with everyone else. So the first part of the video will be my flip. And then at the end, I'm going to show you all the before and afters, the top 3, and then who won 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. So let's go.
So here's the piece that I'm going to do for the challenge. I bought it for $20 2 years ago and promptly put it into storage. You can see there's some kind of a weird electrical outlet coming out at the top. It has these cool pull-out drawers that are kind of cool. As you can see, it's very well worn. I think it was from like a science lab is what I think. Now I do have the 2 bottom drawers. I just couldn't get them back in. But you see how it has that like black, weird, like, plasticky. It's not like laminate or Formica, but it has that, well, it has that science lab look. Here's the other 2 drawers. I do have them. You can see there's some labels on them, like cards or something. But I do have a few areas on 2 of the drawers that have a little problem. You see it has a toe kick on both sides. That's why I think it was built in. So that's kind of what I think. I think it was a built-in cabinet. Somebody pulled it out and they were using it as a dresser or something. Because, you know, that area is kind of inset on the top. So I'm not really sure what's going on with it. Honestly, I'm not even sure why I bought it because it's kind of a mess. But cute little sticker there. You can see the top it's just a mess. There's a big screw there. I got the big hole, but we're going to try it and we're going to see what we can do with it. First thing, I'm going to go ahead and take out that electrical outlet. It really is, you just unscrew it, and then I just pulled it through and it came out very easily. I am going to refinish those little slide out drawers because I'm going to need to cut off that dowel rod. So I'm going to use my Dremel multi-tool. Super easy, just zip, and they're both off. Started to take some of this material off, but you know, I thought this is such a mess. I'm just going to cut off the whole base because I had a lot of damage on the bottom. So I drew a line and then I used my circular saw. Now I really should have a plunge saw for this because I didn't get as close as I needed to make the line straight. So I ended up having to use my multi-tool and my jigsaw to try to get a clean line. So a plunge saw or something like that, a track saw, which would be a much better tool to make this a nice clean line. Then I'll move on to a really thorough cleaning. This thing was sitting in storage for 2 years, and of course it was, I don't know where before that, so it needed a really deep clean. So I got into all of the nooks and crannies to get it a really good foundation before I moved on. I am going to try to strip the drawers, so I'm just going to line them up assembly line. I'm using Greenies. It's a great non-toxic stripper. I'm going to put it on, let it set, do its thing. Sometimes if it dries out, you can kind of see it in the light. If it dries out a little bit, I'll come back and do a quick little second coat just to make sure that it doesn't dry out before it's ready to be scraped off. This was a really thick finish. So it came up pretty good, but you can see towards the end here, I had a little bit there that didn't want to come off. So I just worked on it with a scraper, and then I will come back with a Carbide scraper, steel wool, acetone, whatever it takes, try to get as much of this finish off as possible. They have an afterwash you can use with the Greenies, so I just put a little bit of the concentrate in some water, and I'm using a scrub brush and I'm going over it just to try to get some additional residue off. Now I was missing a big chunk in the corner there, and so I'm going to just fill it in. I'm going to recreate it with some Bondo. So I have a board underneath it with some painter's tape, and I'm just going to go over it with a few layers of Bondo. So I'll build it up over time, let one layer dry, sand it, do another layer, and kind of clamp it up and try to recreate that corner. I'm going to do the same thing to the hole on the top. I have some painter's tape in there, and I'm just going to fill it in. There was a lot of areas that needed to be filled. I have some Bondo you can see on the side here. I'm trying to sand it smooth, trying to get to a smooth surface. This thing is just a mess. You can use it a couple different ways. You can use it as a wood fill, but you can also use it as a grain fill. So I'm just going to mix it up with a little bit of water and try to make it a little bit runnier, and then use it to fill in some of that grain. After stripping the drawers and these pull-out doors, I'm going to get everything a really good sand. I like to start with 80, and then I'll move up to 120, and then I'll finish off at 180. I had all that DAP wood filler on there, so now I'm going to go through and try to smooth it out the best I can. It had some gaps along the corners, so I'm just going to fill that in with some paintable caulk. I felt that the drawers and the doors needed a little bit more help because they were a little blotchy. So I'm going to use some oxalic acid. This is a wood bleach that you just mix with some warm water. So once you mix it in, then you're going to apply it to the drawer or the doors. And then I like to, if possible, I like to put it in the sun so it kind of activates it a little bit more. But if you don't have access to, a sunny day, it's okay. Just leave it on there. In order to stop the bleaching process, they do need to be rinsed 3 times. So after you're done, make sure you rinse them. Now I'm ready for my first coat of primer. I'm using my Erlex 5700. This is Bin 123 primer, and it's just tinted a gray because I am going to go dark on this. I'm going to paint it black. So I like to kind of go with a darker primer, get it closer to the color that I'm going with. I like to do 1 coat of primer and then try to assess it to see, okay, what do I need to fill in from here? You can see on one side here, it's just super crazy. It's really wonky. It's missing a lot. So I'm going to use some wood fill to try to fill in that area to make it a little bit straighter. After sanding it down, you can see it's just there's a lot of areas that still need some fill. And so I'm going to go over it with some glazing Bondo, and I'm going to put it over the whole thing and just see if I can get it smoothed out. I'm using a drywall taping knife just to spread it out the best that I can since it's a large surface. After I stripped the drawers and bleached them, it still had some of the finish left in the wood grain. So I had to use a soft wire brush and acetone on every single drawer to get that out. Once the Bondo was dried, I'm ready to sand it smooth. I picked up this little sander at Ace Hardware and I love it. It's my favorite new little hand sander. It's the perfect size. It comes with 80 grit, 120, and then it jumps up to 220. It doesn't have 180 for some reason, but it's super handy and it really does a great job getting into some of those hard to reach areas. Since I cut off the base, I need to recreate one. So I'm using a 2x2s for the legs, and I'm going to use 1x3 for the aprons. So I kind of toyed what size to do, but I ended up going with 5-inch legs. I felt that kind of gave me a nice overall height. So I cut the 2x2s first, and then I measured the distance in between those, and then I transferred those measurements to my 1x3s. And for some reason, I don't have footage of it, but I created pocket holes on all of the sides so that I could screw them all together. So I did kind of a dry fit and then make sure everything is together. And then you do have to make sure, I had forgotten initially, you have to also drill the holes that will go down into the dresser itself. So once I was happy with all of the dimensions and it looked good, just applied some glue to my joints and then I reattached everything together. I'm going to try to do a paint wash on these, and so I'm going to put some spray shellac on here first just to seal the wood grain, because sometimes paint washes absorb too much into the wood grain. So I find it easier sometimes, especially if I need to reverse something, I find it easier if I seal it first. I'm using Algonquin. This is by Fusion Mineral Paint. It does have a bit of a purple undertone, which these are yellowy. So I thought the purple undertone would kind of cancel out some of the yellow because it is opposite on the color wheel. I like to use my Zebra fan brush. It just holds a lot of paint, so it's one of my favorite paint brushes to use for paint washes. And Zebra is one of our sponsors, so they have a lot of really great application-specific paint brushes. You can find a lot of them at Lowe's. They've been carrying them there, but you can also find on their website. And on Amazon, they have all kinds of them. I really like their palm one, the small one that you can apply top coat with. That's a really good one too. I'm just going to apply it and then let it set for a couple seconds and pull it off with a blue shop towel. These are lint free. Make sure you end going with the grain because it will show if you go against the grain. You can see the before how yellow it was. It definitely tones it down. So here's where things kind of went sideways on the drawers. So I had two that I had some problems with the veneer. So I filled them in because I normally would use Mohawk's Blend-All sticks, but because I'm using water-based products, I tried to use acrylic paint to kind of paint it in. Well, I just used everything. I tried different things here and there, and it just wasn't matching, and it was looking worse and worse. And so I decided I'm just going to strip them back, and I'm going to try again. Well, when I stripped them back the second time, you can see I'm putting some seal coat on them, and I tried to do the paint wash again. Look how gray it is. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know why. I did the same process, but you can see those look beautiful and those look gray. You can see I'm trying yellow. I'm trying straight yellow, trying to get it closer to the original. And then I did a whitewash over that again. You can see it's just not close. And so I was like, oh, those two drawers. And you got to have them look good. You know, you can pick out those two. Those just look different. So I stripped them again. And I'm going to have to redo them because you can't have 4 drawers that look different. So I stripped them again, went through the whole process, did the Algonquin wash, and I'm not going to do the color correction right then and there. So I'll just do the wash, try to get them close and see what I can hit. This is my second coat of primer. You can see I have a lot of glazing Bondo. I have a lot of DAP wood filler on there. So, gosh, it looks pretty horrible at this point, but we'll see what we can do. Now I did the paint wash on the apron. And even though I sealed that with shellac, it looked horrible. It's poplar. I knew it wouldn't stain well, but I kind of thought it would take the paint wash better, but it's super blotchy. So I decided to go ahead. I'm just going to prime it and paint it the same color as I'm doing the body. I'm going to paint it black. This is tricorn black. I'm using Command Paint, and I find with Command Paint, it's by Benjamin Moore, in my area with humidity and weather, I just need to add a little bit of Floetrol just to kind of slow down the drying process, because if I don't, it'll give me some orange peel. So it seems to work really good if I add some Floetrol to it. Just a bit of an extender. So again, I'm using my Erlex 5700. It gives me a really nice spray pattern. I'm using the 2.0 needle, and it does a really good job. I probably should have taped it off, but I get a little overconfident with my cardboard skills. So sometimes you can just hold up a piece of cardboard and that will kind of help you, not get to the overspray on the whole area. I do a nice little scuff sand, and then I'm going to do another coat of paint. Now I'm ready to attach the base to the dresser, so I'll put some more of the glue on it, then I'm going to screw it in. I'm using that Craig pocket hole system. It's a great system for this type of application. I need to drill out those dowels and reattach them, so I'm just going to put a little painter's tape on my drill so that I know how far down I'm going to go. I'll get out a little bit of that area and put a new dowel in there. I'm going to try to do some color correction on those drawers that I redid. I'm starting just by doing a little bit of like a furniture marker, and now I'm going to come back in with the acrylic paints. It's always a bit of an experiment. You just really never know what color you should paint it. So sometimes you just have to experiment. I take a little bit of one color, add it. In this particular case, I needed to add a little bit of gray to it because, you can see there's still a lot of gray in this particular drawer. So it's really just a lot of trial and error. And, you can just take it right back off if you need to. So if you have some, water, it just comes right back off. Sorry, my hand is over it the whole time. I didn't realize it when I was doing it, but you can see I'm starting to get it. It just takes time and it takes some layering to try to get it to match the area around it. Well, let's look back at the before. This piece, I totally know now why I put this in storage, because the top is trashed, holes in it, the base was completely messed up. I don't know. I don't even know why I bought this piece, but we tried our best to try to make this functional. Not really sure if I succeeded, but after all that work, here's the finished product. I know what you're thinking, and I agree. The drawers don't match. Let's try it again. So I feel those two drawers are less pink than the others. So I have some Sulking Room Pink by Farrow and Ball, and I'm going to try to do a very diluted wash. See what that does. And honestly, it didn't do much. So I'm going to keep trying. Then I felt it needed orange. So I did an orange wash. And yeah, that didn't do anything either. And so then I started taking it off with acetone. That's why it's really good to seal your stuff so that you can reverse it. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to use some of those acrylic paints that I used and try to do that. And that was probably my closest match. So I still think I need to do some color correction. Now, to me, the top, it just not good. The top really needed a lot of work, and honestly, I don't think I ever really got it. You can see there, it's uneven. It's not perfectly smooth, but I guess it's better than where I started, but it's definitely not to my standard of what I would like it to be. And so you saw the fill I did. I don't know what else I could do, but this is about as good as it's gonna get. I did decide to try one more thing on the left drawer, and this is where I settled. And so I'll probably keep tweaking it, but I don't know. I guess I think it's better than where we started, but to be completely honest, I'm not really sure.
So now we're ready to move on to the challenge portion of the video. We had 46 people originally sign up for the challenge, 27 official entries. Here's the before and afters. I'd like to thank my 3 judges for helping me narrow down. My first judge is Chris from Optimum Modern. He is a fellow YouTuber, so you can go check him out, but he has really dialed in on mid-century modern. He does fabulous work, so I thought he'd bring a lot of expertise to the judging. And then my second judge is Sherry with the Brass Walnut, again, another YouTuber, but she has a very modern aesthetic. I thought she'd be a really good judge for this particular theme. And then my third judge is Rachel from Redesigned by Rachel. She's also a fellow YouTuber, and she has a very varied style, so I thought she'd bring a nice balance to the mix. And so they were very thoughtful in all of their judging input and ideas, and so here's who they picked for the top 3. Before we announce first, second, third place, I want to take a minute and thank my sponsors. Wagner, Zebra, Greenies, and Basecamp. They're all donating prizes that are going to be sent to the winners. I really appreciate them partnering with me to support the refinishing community. So without further ado, here's first, second, and third place.
Third place goes to Philip with Thistle and Oak Refinishing. Second place went to Linda with Sawdust to Stardust. And first place went to Amberly with her beautiful Broyhill Brasilia. She sent some before footage of what it looked like when she got it. This is a classic design, and sometimes I do see people paint these. It was so wonderful to see Amberly take this classic design. This is classic mid-century modern, and she did it justice. It turned out stunning. She did a great job on it. She even gave it a fun little drawer liner. It was kind of a fun touch, kind of period specific. So congratulations to Amberly and to all of my participants, and thanks so much for watching.